Oh, wow. We made it back to our very pink ocean. Ooh.
Beach party.
Yes, God. The only
Absolutely.
kind of party we ain't having a party for this season. But bonjour et bienvenue à The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy. Say something gay. Gay. I am just drinking some water at this point because hydration is of the essence of Hall. And despite it still looking like it might storm today, it is still 97 degrees Fahrenheit where I live.
Yeah.
And I don't have a cute shirt today. No one. I think we're both in solid colored shirts, which is not very cute in the standard of David's cute shirts.
It is what it is, I think, at this point.
Yep.
But hello, hi everybody. I am Lana, your resident evil diva. I'm here to get the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Purr. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am drinking something new today.
Oh.
I'm drinking something new today. It is Dunkiss, by the way.
Yes.
But it is their new flavor, strawberry orange Sunkiss.
That sounds phenomenal.
And I was like, I like strawberry Sunkiss,
I
of
love
course.
orange.
And I love orange Sunkiss. So maybe I like it together.
And what's the verdict?
It's fine.
Oh.
I think I like it both separate.
Okay. Okay.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink it because it's not horrible. It's okay. It's all right. But since I'm drinking out of that can, I didn't need to drink it out of my cup mug. Ooh, panel for the cup mugs, panel for the cup mugs, panel for the cup mugs, panel for the cup mugs. Period.
Perfect.
And you can get your cup mug or any of our cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. If you haven't checked out our Etsy shop in a while, you should do that because there are new items that are just dropped recently. So you should go check that out. And we do ship domestically here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And we do ship internationally. So there are no excuses. So get your cup merch. Purr.
Well, we are back. It is another episode of DragRace France. I'm ready for this season to be over. It's the only season I currently feel like in that regard. Part of it might be because my favorite was sent home this episode. Unjustly, if you ask me.
Agreed.
I'm glad we do. I'm glad we do. But we'll talk about it. I don't know. I
find this judging panels is judging very weird this season, if I'm being honest.
Was it someone in the comment section, I think it was, or like someone said this to me and I was like, this feels like it resonates. Someone was like, I wonder, I think it was a commenter. Someone was like, I wonder whether because the Olympics are happening this year, whether like production was like, well, this is the narrative we want you to, like, we want like the most hypothetically like normal winner, because both of the winners that Francis had are not like, I love them. I love Paloma and Kiona dearly, but I wonder if they were like, we want the most like normal, and they're not like normal winners in the sense of Drag Race. I don't know. I don't know what normal looks like either. I don't know. I just like, I'm curious whether that has anything to do with it. I personally don't think that's the case. I think it's just the season 3 curse, where they said, we haven't had this kind of winner. We want to have this kind of winner. What that kind of winner is, I honestly don't know at this point, because I think there's 3 people realistically that could win at this point. And it's more so 2.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Well, Whatever.
We'll dive into it. Before we do, though,
Mm-hmm.
make sure to subscribe, like, and share, because we are here almost all the time giving you almost all things drag. We've got 3 active franchises right now. 2 that I think we might be a little bit more, enthused to talk about. I'll be 100% honest with you. We're trying not to be the most pessimistic with this season, because the drag has been good overall. It's just the judging is weird. So, but we're talking about All Stars. We're talking about Mexico, which is a little frustrating in its own capacities, but whatever. And we'll be talking about Canada versus the World as well, which should be a nice little drop in the bucket, fun, drama-filled season is it's what all the queens are saying, so I'm excited. And then you can check the description below for all of our audio podcast links, our other YouTube channels, as we have 3 other channels that we run, as well as our Patreon for exclusive content and early access, including early access to the Look Over Here episodes for all of the franchises that we're currently covering. So, yeah, subscribe. Thanks. But yeah, we come in after last week. No one went home. I read the comments. I'm very intrigued that the comments said a lot of the French fans were like, Philip should have won the Rusical outright.
Mm-hmm.
I still personally think it should have been, who did I say, Ruby or Lula? It was one of those 2.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting how different our opinions have been from the French fans. And I'm curious to see the reaction of the French fans in this episode.
I'm interested in seeing their reactions to this episode too, because I feel like, to me, I was just not in agreement with what the judges were saying, and it was something somebody said that I was kind of like, what?
There was one person that coming out of Snatch Game, I was like, oh, she's absolutely in the bottom for sure. And spoiler, she wasn't in the bottom. So we'll talk about it, because I think this Snatch Game was honestly stupid. The way they did this was stupid.
It was.
I hated it. We'll talk about it.
I hate it.
We come into the workroom the next day. Leona's gushing over her photo, whatever. Nikki comes in, cryptic message, and we find out that it's the Reading Challenge, and I'm glad that it's the classic combo of Reading Challenge Snatch Game. I find that opens me up a little bit more to, accepting humor, especially in the franchises that are not in English.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I see what your humor is. Now I feel like I can judge Snatch Game a little bit better because I know what your kind of humor is going to give.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What, from the Reading Challenge, Lana, what stood out to you? Because I thought this was actually a pretty good Reading Challenge overall.
I mean, I thought they were pretty funny. A lot of jokes went to Misty, and I thought that was pretty funny. A lot of jokes went to Misty about how...
A lot of jokes went to Misty.
And I was like, oh, wow. One was funny when they were like, Misty would just stare at you and give you the blank stare. I can't remember what the joke was, but...
When Perseo, I think it was when Perseo was like, Misty happy. Misty sad.
Yes.
Misty anxious. Misty when she walks in the workroom.
Right.
It's like the same face.
And
I noticed that too, so I'm glad that everybody else kind of noticed it. My favorite read of this Reading Challenge, though, was Philippe against Shocker Misty. When she was like, your IQ came back. Your IQ test came back. It was negative. Like, that's so good. That's so and then when Norma was like, oh, Misty, you satisfied your or you went over your word quota for the day. So good.
I thought they were some really good. I thought this was a good Reading Challenge. I thought people were funny.
Yeah.
I got the jokes. Didn't have to be explained.
Yeah. I got everybody's comedy because everybody was a little bit different. Mm-hmm. I wasn't against the winner of the Reading Challenge. I personally had a different one because I found more of her reads funny. But I was not, that is the wrong, absolutely the wrong banner. This is the right banner because Le Philippe wins the mini challenge. I deserved. 100%. That IQ test negative joke alone sold it for me. Personally, I thought Ruby had more funnier reads for me personally.
I agree with that too.
When she read Philippe saying, "Oh, her partner is an archaeologist. I didn't know sniffing your ass was a degree." That knocked me out. And then when she read Norma and was like Gigi Lamoroso, prettier in the dark, I was like, stop.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I wrote down, I thought Lula was pretty funny too, but I found Lula pretty funny all season. When Lula was reading Ruby going, "This is not an escape game. You actually want to stay here.
You want to stay here." I was like, oh.
And then when Ruby was like, "Well, you haven't had to lip sync against me yet, bitch." I was like, Ruby and Lula are like slowly becoming two of my absolute favorites, and I love their friendship too. Like I think they're very, very fun together. But I thought Philip was very funny, very deserving mini challenge win. This is the first time that I was like, I get her comedy. French fans, I got it. I can't speak for Lana necessarily, but I got it finally.
I thought she deserved. She ate.
She feels like an insult comic to me. She feels very like in the same energy as like Bianca Del Rio. Like insult comic. She's very quick. She's very dry. I thought I get it finally. I see it. I understand it. So we find out then that the maxi challenge is Snatch Game. And there's literally no workroom stuff.
No work. No, it was like once they found out who the guest judges were, they were like, "Oh, this is great. What are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
And we heard Norma say, "I was gonna do her. Oh, I'm nervous. I might not do it now. I might go to my second choice. I don't know."
Well, I'm glad she did it.
I'm glad she didn't. But then I was like, "That's it. That was it."
Right.
That was a little conversation. And then we were on to the next game. And I was like, "Oh, that's it? Okay." But then we found out why we didn't have any workroom stuff.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the Emmy moments before we talk about the Snatch Game? Because that feels a bit more like a logical progression, at least for me right now.
Sure. I mean, because it was moments where we had the queens talking about their actual like addictions with alcohol and drugs and how they used to use it to cope. And it was at a young age, they started smoking.
Yeah, because
weed and
Norma was talking about that living in La Reunion, like that's like a cultural thing. And then we juxtapose that with Philippe talking about their alcohol addiction. And like it took watching videos of them performing to realize, oh, I have an issue.
Right. They said watching themselves stumble around on that stage and thinking they were killing a lip sync and was looking a hot mess made them realize that, okay, no, this is a problem. And you know, I think so many people have that issue. We got a lot of people dealing with that addiction and some people who don't even realize they are dealing with that addiction. So I hope this was something that could help people out to realize, like, you know,
right.
You perform much better on stage if you're sober.
Yeah. And I like that we also saw two sides of sobriety as well. Because Philip was like, "Oh, I cut it out completely, and like now I'm much better off." And Norma was like, "Well, I used to smoke 10 joints a day, which is, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
I can usually barely do one or two myself, but she was like, I still have one every once in a while, like as a treat. I'm like, I love hearing that as well, because there is, despite I'm not sober, but a lot of people in my life are sober. And I know that I appreciate that we're seeing visibility for like the broad spectrum of what sobriety means to people, whether it's like completely like no substances at all, or like on occasion, like I've stripped it back to like pretty much socially, or, you know, the term here is like California sober. So if you quit drinking, but you're, you know, you switch to cannabis or something like that. I love that we got to see the wide range of what sobriety means to people. I really appreciated that conversation because that also very much so resonates here as well.
But that was that conversation, and that's what happened. And then we go into the snatch game because the snatch game is
is most of the episode.
Most of the episode.
Do we want to do judges before? That's what I have in the slideshow, but we don't have to.
We can talk about them real quick.
Okay.
So we don't have to move after the order of the slideshow.
So our guest judges, who I really enjoyed both of them, I have to say, Christina Cordula and Tani. I really liked both of them. I thought they were both really entertaining.
I do too. I thought they were good. I thought they were fun in the snatch game, and I thought they were fun on the panel.
And then Tani, her sweater says "Bravo lesbians." I was like, "Yay!" I love it. I think Nikki was trying to do a celebrity impersonation, and I think it's just a French person I don't know. Because when she came out, I was like, this is very different for Miss Nikki Doll from what we see. So I think she was doing a celebrity impersonation. I have to say, this is my favorite that Daphne has looked all season. And it's just because it's a suit. And I actually really like the full glitter face. I think she looked really good. I think she has my favorite look this week. I gotta be honest. I know it's just a suit, but like, I really liked it. Still a no? Is it the glitter face?
It's the glitter face.
I get that.
The suit's too big.
I think it's a purposely oversized suit. It looked purposely oversized to me.
I mean, it'd be purposely oversized, but it's too big.
I get it. I think Kitty looks great too.
I think Kitty looks good. This is the
I
like Kitty the most.
I like Kitty the most.
I like Kitty the most this week.
I love this ensemble. This like blue, this like dark blue to cream ombre. I'm really. It's not even a cream. It's like a yellow.
It's like a goldish.
Yeah, I'm like obsessed with this.
Almost like a khaki. Yeah, almost like it's
but then in the ombre there's like a little bit of like a subtle like grayish green, and I really like that too.
I like it. Like I think Kitty looked the best to me out of this. I was like, okay, work. But
yeah, I mean it's Kitty and Daphne like pretty close for me. Just because I do like an oversized suit on a woman. And I don't think Christina looks bad either. The hat was a choice. But I wasn't like, the hat is a choice with the overall ensemble, but like waist up with just the jacket, I'm not mad. Like when she was behind the judging panel, I was like, oh, I'm not mad at this, but I don't like it with the skirt. But whatever. So, okay. So we knew that we were getting the phone in this episode. And we knew we were getting the phone during Snatch Game. And what I thought they were going to do, they ended up doing. And so halfway through the Snatch Game, they told everyone to go change, and you have an hour to come back as someone else. I hate this for a regular season.
I hate this for any season.
I liked the way they did it. They did it on the all winners season of Drag Race. And I think that's the applicable place to do it because they're already winners. Whether they did well in Snatch Game or not, like they know what to expect from Snatch Game because they've done one at least. Some of them have done way more. But and I like that they like from the jump, they were like, you're gonna do 2 Snatch Games, you're gonna do 2 characters. I don't like that it was a surprise mid-Snatch Game because it threw everyone off their game. I think there were only 2 people that improved their placement based on the second Snatch Game. I think everyone else went down.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with you.
I will say I don't know most of these people. I'm going to run through who everyone was, but I don't know most of these people, so whatever. So we had, in the top right, we had Norma, who was doing, her first impersonation was Cristina Cordula, the guest judge, and then did Père Fouras from Fort Boyard, which I remember learning, I think, that it's like a game show or something. It's like a long-running TV, I think, game show in France or something like that. So cool. We had Leona as Eve Angeli and then Armand Altai. I don't know either of these people. Perseo had the only one where I knew who both people were because she started as La Veneno and ended as Katy Perry. Specifically Katy Perry from the Last Friday Night music video. We'll talk about that because that was interesting. We had Ruby as Jewel, who I'm assuming is just a French rapper. And then is Isabella Adjani, who I'm going to assume is an actress of some kind. That's the energy I got from it. We have Misty as Lolo Ferrari, who I'm assuming is an influencer of some kind. Or potentially porn star based on the size of those boobs. And then shifted into Sylvie Tellier, who, from what Nikki said, was a Miss France and now is the organizer of Miss France.
Okay.
I think I remember that right. Philippe was Dalida, famous French singer, and then Ayel Dombasle. I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry. And I'm assuming she's an actress of some kind. And then Lula was Barbara, another famous French singer, I believe. And then Chantal Goya, who I think is an actress in France of some kind. So I think she's a comedian or something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't judge me for my lack of knowledge of French celebrities. Whatever. But who stood out to you the most in this Snatch Game, Lana?
I mean, it really... For me, it was like different for each Snatch Game. Like,
yes,
I thought in the first Snatch Game, I liked Norma. I liked Perseo. Yeah. I liked Lula. Yeah.
The rapper or the singer?
No, the porn star / influencer.
Oh, that was Misty.
Misty. I liked her in this first one. Those were my top 3 in the first set. I thought they were good. I thought Ruby was fine as the rapper, just not as, I wasn't blown away. But I thought those were my top 3 in that first group. And then when they went to the second group, I thought Ruby, Perseo, and I want to say Lula's on the end, right? She was Barbara and that other.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, her.
Yeah, Lula is Chantal Goya.
Yeah, her. I think those were my top 3 in the second one because I thought they were funnier in that one for me. I think Misty was fine in the second one, but I think she was much more funnier in her first one for me.
Okay.
And Philippe just faded on both characters to me. I didn't like either one of her characters. I was just like, okay.
And she even acknowledged it midway through, and then afterwards, like Philip was the worst of the week for sure. Like that was not that one was not a question for me. And I knew coming out of both Snatch Games, I was like, okay, Philip is in the bottom. I don't know who she's up against. Is kind of the question for me. I had a bit of a different top 3 from each Snatch Game. A lot of similarities, like a couple differences. Okay. I had one person that I thought stood out and was in my top 3 across both Snatch Games, and that was actually Ruby. Okay. I thought her second character, Isabella Adjani, I thought was a lot stronger because what I'm learning about Ruby and what I really like about Ruby is her physical comedy is on point. And we saw that during her first lip sync against Magnetica. And I'm really happy she's made it to Snatch Game because I was hoping for the most from her in this Snatch Game. And for me, she delivered 100%. I thought the Isabella Adjani was very, very good. I understood her personality without knowing a single other thing about this woman.
Right. Same.
Like, she is snotty. She is bored everywhere she goes. Like, I see that energy for sure. I really liked her as the rapper, too. I thought it was so different for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt very, like, white teen boy rapper. Like, I see that. I don't know how old this man is, but, like, I see that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gave, like, SoundCloud rapper in, like, the worst way. You know what I mean, though? Like, you know exactly the kind of man that I'm talking about there. But, yeah, so for me, my standouts in the first one were Ruby, Norma, and Perseo.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought Norma did such a good job as Christina in front of Christina. Like,
I
was so impressed with her. I was like, this is really, really good. Like, I thought she matched, like, the syncopation of when they would do stuff. The accents were the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could tell this is the one that Norma prepared for.
Right.
And we've seen Veneno done a few times on Drag Race before. The most famous one for Snatch Game for me is Isis Couture from Canada. She did a really, she I don't know necessarily did Veneno, but more so did, like, Spanish Woman. But, like, exaggerated Spanish Woman. This felt a little bit more true to Veneno for me. Even though, like, I knew what she was saying because I had subtitles on, and I was frustrated with the critique of, oh, I couldn't understand what you were saying, and it was still kind of just Perseo, but I was living.
Right.
And I'm not mad at it because I love Perseo. I really, really love Perseo. But I thought her Veneno was really, really good. In the second Snatch Game, and I actually thought my least favorite from the first Snatch Game actually was Misty.
Oh, I
thought Misty. It was Philip and Misty for me were my two least favorites. Very, very close together, but for me, there was a bit of a dryness in the humor of Philip's Delita, which I much preferred to her other character. I thought the Delita was the stronger of the two, despite it not being super strong still. Misty's, I thought, flatlined, and she even kind of said it in her confessional, or when they did the switchover. She was like, "I'm a little worried." I just thought the character was one note. Like, I didn't get a whole lot from the character other than bubbly, dumb, ditzy, big tits. Like, I wanted layers with that, because there are layers you can play with that. But I didn't think she did anything necessarily. I thought Leona was forgettable, and I thought Lula was fine. Lula was acceptable. The second one, my standouts were Ruby, Misty, and Leona, actually. With Perseo was a very close one for me. I thought Perseo was very good. It was a little one note. It's a specific angle to take, and I like that angle for Katy Perry. Because the only other Katy Perry we've seen done on Snatch Game was, like, California Girls, and it was an absolute disaster. And that was actually Alyssa Edwards, who did Katy Perry. But I thought Perseo's Katy Perry was good. It's a perspective. It's going to be one note because it's a one note character we know nothing about other than a music video. So it's a cute way to go about doing a second character. I kind of wish, and I don't know that Perseo has this reference necessarily, but she's young enough that she might. I wish she had just gone from Katy Perry in the music video to the girl from Finding Nemo with the fish in the bag. Like, and again, I don't know if she has that reference, but it gave me the exact same outfit. So that was where my energy was. Ruby, I thought the Isabella Adjani was probably the strongest character overall from both Snatch Games. And my second, honestly, would probably be Norma as Christina. I don't get why Norma was at the bottom, but we'll talk about it. Misty's Sylvie, I thought was really strong, actually. I thought I understood the character of this woman without knowing anything about her. Like, I got, she's, like, kind of psychotic, kind of ADD, kind of OCD. Like, I see the character. And I thought Leona, her physical comedy was good. I thought it was a good performance. Her whole intro when she did the, like, diction sentence thing, and it was like the stupidest sentence alive. And then when she was like, "This is a massacre." I thought that was funny. But that was really the only other moment that stood out for me in that second Snatch Game. So
I got nothing else.
Yeah, I don't either, really. It's fine. I wish they hadn't done 2.
I wish they hadn't done 2. I thought that was awful.
Yeah. And then seemingly in the judging, they only wanted to talk about the one, like, in the case where someone did bad at one. Like, they only, like, with Norma, they didn't even talk about Norma's Christina at all.
Not like, to her.
I was like, the fuck?
Right.
But yeah, I was a little annoyed by that, but it is what it is, I guess. I'm not a director. I can't change anything. So, Category is Le Grand Mechant Look. Now, I had no clue what this was, so I Googled it. So the understanding, please correct me in the comments, because I know I'm not getting all of it. The idea from the Google search that I did was that these are characters from children's stories, or like, think like Peter Rabbit. Like that kind of story.
Okay.
But French is the energy I got from it. I don't know who all these characters are. I don't care particularly, but that's the energy I got from what I looked up. So
okay. I didn't know what it was either, so I was kind of just basing off what it looked like.
I'm judging it based on, do I like the look?
Right.
Yeah. We're going to go through. First up, Lula Strega.
Interesting look.
Interesting angular movements. But really well executed. Misty Phoenix.
What a wig.
The best thing she's worn this season by far. Yeah.
I know.
Perseo.
Beautiful yet typical.
I'm worried for Perseo next week, but this was really good. But yeah, I completely expected, but still exceptionally done. Leona Winter.
Love.
Oh, okay. As a joke, I was just gonna say rar. Polished, but I don't think I like it that much. Yeah, I don't know. Norma Bell.
Feathers.
Don't dress or don't look like something similar to a pterodactyl on a Snatch Game episode on Drag Race. Don't do it. If I had a nickel for every time someone dressed kind of like a pterodactyl and went home on Snatch Game and they were my favorite of the season, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a whole lot of money, but it's wild that it's happened twice. I'm angry.
Okay.
I'm angry.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm angry, Lana.
Oh, okay.
Because you want to know who else got eliminated on her first season in a pterodactyl look? Well, you know her. That's the only reason I brought it up.
I don't want to know. I'm just kidding. Who is it?
It was Tea Coffee.
Oh, okay.
Went home on Snatch Game in a pterodactyl look, and this is kind of pterodactyl for me, so I got triggered. I was like, no! Damn it.
Oh, mess.
Next up, Le Philippe.
I will say incredibly chic.
My favorite look of the night. I love this. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be, but I love it. And last up, Ruby on the nail.
Love the performance more than I like the look.
Not bad. I want to know what this character is. Let us know in the comments, please. I'm intrigued. But that's that. I don't remember a whole lot from the Untucked situation. I
didn't watch Untucked.
Well, the little part in between the judging.
That part. Just
That's
just going back and forth. Who got what? Who's up? Who's down? Who's happy? Who's sad? Typical.
Yeah.
Norma and Philippe were like, "It's probably gonna be us.
Yeah.
We probably gonna be it. So we just got to get ready." It was the typical.
Yeah. Yeah. I will also say this breaks a streak for someone on this season. This is the first time this season that Leona is safe.
Wow.
She's been high or winning every episode, but this is the first time she still got critiqued, obviously, because everyone did. But our top 3 for this challenge, Lana, ends up being Lula, Misty, and Ruby.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I think Ruby deserved to be at the top for her Snatch Game performance. I think
Definitely.
I thought Misty's performance was good, so I can agree with Misty being in the top 3. I can.
Yeah.
And I thought Lula's was good too. So I'm really upset about this top 3.
The interesting thing for me is and obviously I think the right person won. Ruby won, and I think that is the absolute right choice.
Absolutely.
Because for me, honestly, coming out of the double Snatch Game, I was like, well, Ruby was the best, so Ruby is my winner.
Mm-hmm.
Philip was the worst, and Philip is going to be in the bottom, and I agreed with that. I genuinely thought every single one of the other 5 girls could have been in the top or the bottom 2. And I would have understood.
Right.
Because I think with all of them, I really liked one of their Snatch Games, and I didn't like their other one.
Absolutely. That was me. Me too.
It's like one of them was very good and one of them was very bad. And it felt like I felt like the judging was based on whose lesser good Snatch Game was the best and the worst. It felt like they didn't even acknowledge the good Snatch Games that each other person did, other than Ruby and Misty, maybe. Especially the fact that in the critique that they gave to Norma directly, they did not mention her Christina at all, which I thought was remarkably successful.
Right.
So I was just a little confused by it. But Ruby was by far the winner for me. I am so happy she finally has a win.
What got me in the judging while they were discussing was Kitty saying, we can't look past LaFilippe's past stuff that she did and how great that was. Yes. I'm like, but then you have to also do the same thing to Norma and look at the past things that she's done and how good she's been in them. So how do we, if that's what we're doing, do it for both? It just felt interesting.
I agree with you completely. I think the difficulty with this was they also asked who should go home and why. And the only 2 people that were named were Philip and Norma. So I felt like that just gave producers the out to put them in the bottom together. Which is exactly what we saw happen. We see Norma and Philip in the bottom. We see Leona and Perseo called safe together. You know, the more I think about it, the more I maybe would have swapped. I think I would have swapped out Lula in the top 3, honestly, for Perseo.
Mm-hmm.
And that honestly might be because I knew both of her characters. I'm going to be 100% honest with this potential like implicit bias.
Mm-hmm.
But it might. I know who Veneno is, and I know who Katy Perry is, and like that might have, that might be part of that reason. But I also thought she was funny.
True.
I thought her Veneno was really, really funny to me. But we end up with Norma and Philip in the bottom. I don't think I would have put Norma there.
No, because I think one of her Christina was really dead on and spot on, and I really enjoyed it. So I probably would have put her there either. But
now, who would we have put?
I probably would have put
Leona.
Yeah, probably Leona.
And just do a redo of last week's lip sync, but this time they're in the bottom. They're actually in the bottom for real, for real.
Yeah.
I think I would have either done Leona or Lula. Not that I thought Lula was bad. It just like someone had to be in the bottom 2 with Philip. Because I thought Philip was going home here. Like this felt like a very classic trope of, Snatch Game, or not Snatch Game, Reading Challenge winner, really, really good in the Reading Challenge, doesn't translate to the Snatch Game, goes home. Like we have seen that happen before. So that was kind of what I had expected going into this. The lip sync song is Marsha Baila by Lesorita Mitsuko.
I didn't know this song. I didn't know nothing about the song. I didn't know think it was a good song to lip sync to, honestly.
They're doing all of these like story songs this season on France for lip syncs. Like every song is a story song, and
I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm gonna be honest.
No, me either. Me either. I have to say though, as much as I do really love my Norma Bell, and I do, y'all know I do think Philip won the lip sync. I don't think either of them were groundbreaking in their performance.
Right.
But I think for the energy and the story of the song, I do think Philip performed the song better, and I believed the song out of Philip more than I did Norma, unfortunately.
I mean, I knew it was going to be Norma when they were showing how much they were watching Philippe on the camera, and I was like, Norma's gonna go, and I'm very sad about it because I did not want Norma to go, but I kind of figured that they were doing that, and good on Philippe for pulling out this win. I do think, like you said, I don't think the lip sync itself was very groundbreaking or it's so great. Well, I'm like, neither one of them should go. Like, even though they just did that. But I felt like, one was weaker than the other.
Definitely. And no, I don't want Norma to go.
I did not want Norma to go either. That made me very sad. That made me very, very sad.
I'm really emo about that. I gotta be honest with you. I'm really upset. I like her a lot.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying I like her a lot. I'm really sad about that.
Yeah.
That's all. Like that's all it was. It's just I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I'm really, honestly, y'all. I'm quickly checking out of this season.
Yeah, it's
like we're gonna keep covering it, but like
absolutely.
I'm slowly checking out of this season.
It was, this one was hard. I'm still going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I think it's just because the person who I really liked was gone. But it is what it is. We got to get used to seeing our faves get booted out in places where we don't feel like they deserve to get booted. But
I was going to say, I did a very quick update of the draft because we don't have a David here today.
Oh.
But I just went ahead and did it really quick. So we do have a draft update.
Work.
It is very rapidly becoming a 2-horse race. As David ain't doing too well.
Oops.
He's hanging on with a Perseo and a Dream.
Right.
He's currently sitting in third at 20.5 points. But the 2-horse race between me and you, Lana, is actually pretty close again. It's pretty close. We've swapped places again.
Oh.
So
Norma you're for me.
Norma leaving and Philip in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have Ruby and I have Misty as well.
Yeah.
And I have Leona, who again is just very consistent. So
right.
You're at 46 points. I'm at 50.
Okay.
So
still close.
I forgot the half point for Philip, and I was like, "Oop, let me add that half point," because she did win the mini challenge. So
I can still get you.
I think so. I think it really is. It's because who else do you have? You have Philip and you have Lula. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see you. Because okay, so this is what I was going to say, and then we can close out. I think at this point there are only 2 queens that I see winning this season.
Okay.
And I think for me, now that she has a win, I feel more confident in saying this one. I think it's either going to be Lula or Ruby.
Okay. You wouldn't be wrong.
And I'm leaning a bit more towards Lula. Because I think we've seen the judges give Lula that like early pep talk in the early episodes. Like, you really need to step out of your shell. She got her challenge win. She's been doing very consistent. Like, she hasn't been in the bottom yet. I would like to say Ruby too, but I feel like I've never seen a Drag Race winner get 2 early bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten 2 bottoms before. But I don't know. I think for me personally, I would rather see Ruby win because I am personally connecting to now that Norma's gone. Ruby is my front runner.
Okay.
It's Ruby and Perseo for me are my personal front runners.
Okay.
And then Lula would be my third, honestly. But I just feel like at this point, the way that they're editing the friendship makes me think that they're going to be the top 2, which I also would be really happy to see. And I don't know that Perseo is going to make it that much longer because next week we find out is the makeover. And I am remarkably worried for our Perseo. Because if she ends up with a makeover partner who doesn't want to be as naked as she is, she's in danger, girl. So.
Yeah, she'll have to get it together.
Yeah.
I agree with you, honestly.
Yeah. I think that's when they snipe our other overall cup favorite, and then we're kind of just like, well,
what can you do?
I think we only have 3 or 4 more episodes, and honestly, I'm ready for the season to be over. So, but we're still going to be here covering it. We're still going to be here doing the things and the stuff and the stuff and the things. So, thank you so much for joining us for our coverage of Drag Race France. We will be back next week to talk about episode 6. Make sure to check out our Look Over Here episode where we're going to dive just into the looks from this fabulous, wonderful runway. Make sure to check out the description below for all of our YouTube channels, our audio podcast links, and where you can find us on Patreon for exclusive content and early access to the Look Over Here for this franchise, as well as all of our current Drag Race franchises. Check the description below as well for where you can find our social media links, where you can follow me and Lana on socials, and where you can get your merch, including but not limited to cup mug as well. With that being said, we're gonna get out of here because we gotta go film Look Over Here. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Woo. Au revoir. I'm gonna be sad about Norma for a minute.
Me too.
Damn. Love you, Norma.